In this video, we're going to have a look at how we can use a Venn diagram to help us in our probability calculations. So one class of 35 students were surveyed to find out their favourite subjects. The results are displayed in the Venn diagram below. Using the Venn diagram, we want to calculate the probability of a student liking PE, of a student liking PE and science, of a student liking musical science, of a student not liking music and PE, or not liking PE or science. So let's have a look at how we use our Venn diagram to help us with these calculations. So the first one is we want to have a look at the probability of a student liking PE. And to do that, we want to use the formula number of favourable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. So to look at that, I need to use my Venn diagram to work out my number of favourable outcomes. And my favourable outcomes are going to be contained within the PE set or the PE circle on my Venn diagram. So all of my responses within my PE set are going to be included in favourable outcomes. And I can see that there are 4 responses within my PE set. So that means my probability is going to be 10 plus 2 plus 4 plus 6 over my total number of possible outcomes, and that is 35. So that is going to equal to 22 over 36, which can be simplified to 11 over 18. So the probability of a student liking PE is 11 out of 18. So next we want to look at the probability of a student liking both PE and science. And to work out the probability, we're going to use the formula number of favourable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. So to work out my number of favourable outcomes, I need to have a look at my Venn diagram, and I'm looking for students that like both PE and science. So to do that, I need to first identify my sets for PE and for science. So my PE set is contained within that circle. My science set is contained within that circle. So I'm looking for students that like both PE and science, and that's going to be contained within the intersection of those 2 sets. So within this space here is going to be my students that like both PE and science. So now I can go back and work out my probability. So my number of favourable outcomes is going to be 2 plus 6 over my possible outcomes, which was 35. So that equals 8 over 35. So the probability of a student liking PE and science is going to be 8 over 35. So next we'll have a look at the probability of a student liking music or science. So to do that, I use the formula number of favourable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes, and I can use my Venn diagram to help me determine the number of favourable outcomes. So to work out the number of students who like music or science, I need to have a look at the 2 sets for music and science. So my music set and my science set. Now all of the responses that are contained within these 2 sets are going to be my favourable responses. So my students that like either music or science. It doesn't matter which one they like, or whether they like both, or whether they also like PE. As long as they're contained within those 2 sets, they're going to like either music or science. So that is going to equal to, adding up all of my favourable outcomes, so 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 4, over my number of possible outcomes, which was 35. So that is going to equal to 23 over 35. So the probability of a student liking music or science is going to be 23 out of 35. So next we'll calculate the probability of a student not liking music and PE. And to do this probability calculation, again, I'm going to use the same formula, number of favourable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. So I'm looking for my favourable outcomes to be students not liking music or PE. So using my Venn diagram, I'm going to first use it to work out the students that do like music and PE. So these students are going to be found in the intersection of the music and PE sets. So these students in here are the ones that like PE and music. So all of the other responses within the Venn diagram are going to be the students that do not like music and PE. So now I can use this information to work out my number of favourable outcomes. So going back to my formula, my favourable outcomes is going to be 10 plus 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 1 plus 2 over 35, because that's my total possible outcomes. This time I am including the responses within my universal set, but not within one of my circles. So my 2 within my calculations, because they are included in not liking music and PE. So my probability is going to equal to 25 over 35, which is going to equal to 5 over 7. So the probability of a student not liking music and PE is 5 over 7. So in the last part of my example, I want to calculate the probability of a student not liking PE or not liking science. And I'm going to use the formula number of favourable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes to calculate that probability. So using the Venn diagram, I can work out the number of favourable outcomes. So to help me do that, I want to first work out the number of people that like either PE or science. So all the people contained within the PE or science set are going to be my unfavourable outcomes, and my favourable outcomes is going to be the balance of the responses. So going back to my calculation, my favourable response is going to be 1 plus 2 over my possible responses of 35. So my probability is going to be 3 over 35. So the probability of a student not liking PE or not liking science is 3 out of 35.